Hey guys, time for my Monday Night Raw review from January 25th, 1993. A big day on Monday Night Raw for the third episode. So, let's not wait any longer. Let's get right to it. So we start with Sean Mooney out in front of the Manhattan Center with the Repo Man making his way to the building in his truck from last week. If you remember, I can't think of the word at the moment. The word slips my mind. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Still has Savage's hat. Still has Rob Bartlett's truck, his rent-a-truck. And he talks about how stealing from Randy Savage is like a Cadillac. It's the ultimate. It's the big car. And he can't wait to finish the job. Commentators for this episode, Vince McMahon, Bobby Heenan. How about that? He finally gets to do commentary on Raw. Only had to wait till the third episode. And Rob Bartlett. So our opening match is, in fact, Repo Man against Randy Savage. During Repo's entrance, he's talking over, I guess, to some fans. Savage just runs into the ring, and he goes right after the Repo Man. Does not wait. Excuse me. And Savage just goes right on the offense, right in the beginning, and he does not wait. And for a little bit, it's a brawl. Like maybe the first 3-4 minutes spent in the match is outside of the ring. There is a little bit of action in the ring, but most of it is going out of the ring. Eventually, Repo Man does get control of the match, and, he does his wear-down moves, and then Savage comes back, hits the flying elbow, 1, 2, 3, Randy Savage wins, and then he throws Repo Man out of the ring and gets his hat. It was a decent match, not really the best match, but it was decent. At least it had a storyline, had a purpose, and it was an okay way to start off this Raw. Then we get a promo for WrestleMania 9, going to Las Vegas. Get your tickets now. On to our next match. Kamala against the Brooklyn Brawler. Kamala now managed by Reverend Slick, or advised, by Reverend Slick, against the Brooklyn Brawler. And again, another match where somebody goes after the other guy. In this case, it's the Brooklyn Brawler, but really not much offense from the Brooklyn Brawler because Kamala does go after him, and Kamala just takes control the rest of the way. It's pretty much a squash match. Kamala, it's fun to watch Kamala as a face because here, all these years, Kamala's a heel, or for pretty much the duration of his entire career, he's a heel, and, and he's guided. Here he's a face, and he's still guided, but he's doing good things. And Slick tells helps the people, tell him, bring him over, turn him to the other side, going for the pin, and Kamala gets the win. So after the match, Vince goes to Slick for an interview, and Slick says how, I did not change Kamala, the people changed Kamala. And, the chants of, you are a man, you are a man. Well, I hope he's a man, because he looks like a man. But anyway. And then he says, if Harvey Whippleman and Kim Chi ever get involved again, he will not be responsible for what Kamala does to them. Boy, that's real heelish of a babyface manager to say, and you're Reverend Slick, for goodness sakes. You're supposed to be the face manager. That is such a heel thing to say, but it was done in a good way. It wasn't much yelling, but it was done in a good way. So now we get our post-Royal Rumble report, and it's basically just Mean Gene talking. That's really all it is. No still photos, no footage, just Mean Gene talking. That's really it. And then we go to the main event. This is the one, I've actually been waiting for, because I've never seen this match from beginning to end. Ric Flair versus Mr. Perfect. The loser of the match must leave the WWF. And before I give my thoughts about this match, I do want to say real quick, like, in the first minute or two of the match, Vince McMahon is like, oh, I think we have some technical difficulties. Sounds like it's another channel. It's the Sci-Fi Channel. Subscribe to the Sci-Fi Channel. Tell your cable company to get the Sci-Fi Channel. Boy, I wonder if Vince was thinking, Sci-Fi Channel? What a joke. We won't be there in 20 years. Yes, you will. Anyway, great match. This is a great match. Great commentary by both McMahon and Heenan. Probably one of the best McMahon-Heenan commentary matches you will ever hear. And this is even with Rob Bartlett. And you don't hear Bartlett that much. So, you know, it's the typical match. Starts off slow, but man, does it get good. And what I notice is they take 2 breaks during this match. So after they come back from the first break, Flair sends Perfect into the corner. Perfect goes in the wrong way because he hits his forehead on the post, but he falls so awkwardly that Perfect is busted open. He's busted open on the forehead, and he's bleeding. I think this is one of the few matches in Mr. Perfect's run in WWE or WWF where he ever bleeds. I want to say this is the only time he ever bleeds in a WWF ring, but I might be wrong. If I am wrong, please say in the comments section. But it's just a good match, back and forth. The commentary is so great. Bobby Heenan is so damn biased in this match. Because, I mean, we all say, you know, his commentary in 92 at the Rumble is one of the greatest commentaries of all time. This is just as good as that. And it is so good to hear how biased he is. And him and McMahon are just so great. And at one point during the match, Vince even brings up to Bartlett, we haven't heard you talk in a while. And he says, I just can't believe how good of a match it is. These two are beating the bejeebus, out of each other. And, I mean, they're just taking chops. They're taking moves outside of the ring, inside of the ring. It's really good. And then we get to the end of the match when we come back from the second commercial, because at one point, Bobby Heenan asks Vince, what if this match, goes on when the show is over? Is it going to be a draw? Is it both, And Vince explains, and for you younger fans, you do have to remember, this is 1993, so in the event that this match goes over the elated time, we're not going to know until next week who won that match. So Vince does bring that up. So we come back from the second commercial break. Flair pulls out a pair of brass knucks that were in his knee pad. And he hits Perfect square in the jaw. And it's like, this has got to be it. 1, 2, Perfect kicks out. And Bobby Heenan couldn't believe it. And, Vince McMahon couldn't believe it. And then Flair punches Perfect right in the forehead where he was busted open earlier. Then he takes it to the corner, he gives him a couple chops, and that just gets Perfect loaded up. He's pumped up now. He's ready to tear up into Flair, and he does. Sends Flair in the corner. Flair does the flip over the corner, runs to the apron, climbs to the top. Perfect catches him with a right hand, and then Flair comes back, and in the end of the match, Flair sends Perfect into the ropes, puts his head down. Perfect catches him for the Perfect Plex. 1, 2, 3. Mr. Perfect wins. Ric Flair is gone from the WWF, and Bobby Heenan couldn't believe it. When he got off, or when he got up to leave, he was saying something, and it got bleeped, it got censored, which was sort of disappointing because I'm like, hey, it's Monday Night Raw. It's uncut. It's uncensored and uncooked. I want to hear what Bobby's saying. But unfortunately, we don't. We see Perfect celebrating. Flair, has this look, and Heenan raises his hand, and that's really it. And then we get to the end of the show, and this part just kills me. This part kills me. Because when we get to the end, and Vince says, what's going to happen next week, he goes, "Oh, we just got word from WWF President Jack Tunney that Ric Flair has to fulfill his obligations this weekend, but once he has fulfilled them, he is gone from the WWF." No. Bad Vince. Bad Vince. Bad WWF. You have a loser leaves WWF match. Whoever loses is gone. That's supposed to be it. You're not supposed to tell us that the guy who lost has to fulfill his obligations this weekend and then has to leave. No! If the guy lost, he lost. He should be gone. It's over. Sorry. Anyway, Vince then tells us that next week on Raw, we're going to get the really highly anticipated match of Typhoon against Doink the Clown. Yep. Typhoon against Doink the Clown is your advertised match on next week's Raw. Woohoo! But overall, this show, it's a good show. And that main event, Perfect and Flair, oh my gosh, what a match that is. I can understand why, and I'm going to go back to it's been almost 3 years actually, when I did the that wrestling show, when we did the 1000th episode of Raw. We had a whole big group. Oh, it was one of the most fun nights I've had recording. And WWE had come out with a list of the 100 greatest matches in the history of Raw. Perfect and Flair is number 2 on the list. Number 1 being Cena and Michaels, the hour match in London. This is such a... I can't praise this match enough. This is a good match. It's a good way for Ric Flair to leave the WWF. You're still leaving on top if you think about it. And it's a really fun match. And the commentary from McMahon and Heenan in this match is just outstanding. It is just outstanding. And then, you get... Repo Man and Savage, you get the end of that brief feud. You get a Kamala squash with him as a face, which is very odd. But this is a good Raw. This is a good episode of Raw with a highly anticipated match that lived to the hype, and it just was very, very good. And that's my review of this episode of Raw. Next week, or next time I should say, the next Raw review will be the one with Typhoon against Doink the Clown. Yay.